Moyo, welcome back to the news at 10, and as promised, we're going to take you right back to our eyewitness portal where you sent in some of the pictures there. First is this picture of people sitting on the roof of a moving bus laden with wood along Kaduna-Zaria Express Road. Our eyewitness reporter, who says this is very common on Nigerian roads, pleads with men of the Federal Road Safety Corps to check such trends. And next is this picture of a flooded road in Osei Market in Marine Road, Onitsha, Anambra State. Our eyewitness reporter says that this is a tarred road but without drains on both sides, hence the deplorable state. Our reporter is calling on relevant authorities to help alleviate the hardship traders in the market go through. We do thank you so much indeed for sending in those pictures using our eyewitness portal. Delta State Governor Mr. Ifeanyi Okowa has inaugurated a 14-man governing board for the Delta State Oil Producing Areas Development Commission, the SOPADEC, charging them to ensure prudent management of resources for the benefit of the people. Governor Okowa also appealed to the people to cooperate with the new board and give it a chance to succeed.
In July, Delta State Governor Ifeanyi Okowa approved the dissolution of the board of the Delta State Oil Producing Areas Development Commission, the SOPADEC. According to the state government, the dissolution of the board became necessary to fast-track development in the affected areas. But mixed reactions have greeted the decision from several groups and communities since the executive bill to restructure the commission was introduced to the legislature earlier in the year. Some have hailed the move to give the SOPADEC what they call desired reinvigoration. Others have opposed the decision, saying it has political and sectional undertones rather than being in the overriding interest of oil-producing communities. Despite these opposing views, the SOPADEC is now restructured with the executive bill recently passed by the state lawmakers, and these government officials are here at the Unity Hall, Government House, Asaba, to inaugurate the board. Governor Okowa charges the members of the board to carry out their duties with fairness, equity and justice.
From today, I expect to see greater transparency and accountability in the running of the affairs of the Commission. I would like to stress that it is no longer business as usual. The new SOPADEC has no room for incompetence, selfishness and greed. The setting up of this board is coming at a critical period in our nation's history. Revenue from oil has dropped drastically, and the plight of our oil-producing communities has come into sharp focus. The situation calls for discipline, sacrifice, and prudent management of our resources for maximum benefits to our people.
He tells them what he expects to see as a result of their work in the communities.
I encourage you to use the bottom-up approach. The community should determine the projects they want in their areas. And it's also my hope and prayer that the House of Assembly will cooperate with us in this regard.
We wish to ensure His Excellency in all data that in performance of our duty, we will be guided by your smart agenda and your resolve to provide prosperity for all debtors.
Under the new structure, there is a governing board comprising a chairman, managing director, 4 executive directors, and 9 representatives of oil-producing areas in the state.
Time now for business news on the news at 10, as we're being joined by Ann Waudo for details.
Hello, welcome to Business News. Gas supplies to Nigeria's LNG export terminal on Bonny Island has been reduced as a result of the major oil pipeline shutdown caused by leak and theft. Shell Petroleum Development Company, a subsidiary of Shell Nigeria unit, noted in a statement. According to the oil producer, the reduction may impact liquefied natural gas exports from the facility. Shell has declared a force majeure on crude oil exports via 2 major pipelines during the week, and this includes the Trans-Nigeria pipeline unit. The president of Dangote Cement of Companies, Mr. Aliko Dangote, is hoping that Nigerian roads will someday be made of concrete. The richest man in Africa, who is on cement manufacturing expansion drive across the African continent, says he plans to engage the current administration on how Nigerian road infrastructure will be constructed with concrete materials.
Right now, I think we are coming now to do presentation to the new government, and I'm 100% sure by the time we finish, the government will move into building of concrete roads, because the concrete roads will end up being cheaper than bitumen. And you can't cheat much with the concrete roads, because you can always go and measure the quality of the mixture of the concrete and also the width that has actually been used. And you know, it's better once you finish one road, you don't go back there for 40-50 years, which is the best.
Bearish momentum stretched on this week as prevalent sell-offs in the financial services sector, the insurance and even consumer goods sector weighed down the key benchmark indices of the Nigerian Stock Exchange. The all-share index fell 3.56% to 28,814.62, just as the market capitalization shed 3.24% to settle at 9.90 trillion naira. Market breadth worsened during the week, with 65 laggards to 13 advances, and PZ Cussons topped the decliners chart with a 7 naira 92 kobo loss. E-Transact shed 71 kobo, while Qtex tumbled 17.89%. Of the top gainers for the week, Dangote Sugar ticked 1 naira 25 kobo. Skybank staked a total of 35 kobo. Wema Bank advanced by 11.25% to close at 9 kobo. Zenith Bank, United Bank for Africa, and Access Bank were the most actively traded stocks for the week. Sectorally, the financial services led with transactions bought on 1.73 billion shares. The conglomerates recorded 153.48 million units, while 77.57 million shares were exchanged in the consumer goods box. And at the close of trades for the week, the transactions value came in at 17.86 billion naira. That's after 2.05 billion shares were traded in 21,762 deals. And as follows, the disbursement of budget reallocations to government agencies on Thursday, raising liquidity levels in the money market. The secured buyback, open buyback, also called the OBB, closed at 8%. That's against last week's close of 40%, while overnight placement traded at 8.5% compared with last week's rate of 40%. Dealers expect rates to open around 10% early next week until the movement of the budget reallocation to the Treasury single account. And yields on Nigerian bonds are expected to climb next week on tight liquidity in the money market. And traders say that weak economic output growth data, that's of 2.35%, released this week by Statistics Office, triggered sell-offs by some offshore investors and even commercial lenders covering short naira positions. Yield on the longest tenor of 2034 bond rose to 15.71% from 15.50% last week. The benchmark 2024 paper rose by about 52 percentage points to 15.97% from 15.45%, while the 2022 debt was trading higher at 15.87% against 15.50%. And that's it on Business News. Gimba will be back with the rest of the news at 10. I'm Anne Nwawadu.
An estimated 3.75 million Nigerians between the ages of 20 to 79 years are living with diabetes, and this is according to the International Diabetes Federation, the IDF. But more disturbing figures from the 6th edition of the IDF Diabetes Report is that over 1.7 million Nigerians living with the condition are unaware and undiagnosed. Our focus on health tonight is on the need for early detection and consistent treatment of this non-communicable disease that affects both the young and the old. Our correspondent Yomi Otaigbe reports.
Diabetes mellitus is one of those silent medical conditions that can hardly be seen on the face, be it type 1 diabetes, in which the body does not produce insulin, type 2, whereby the body produces insulin but is not enough, or gestational diabetes, which affects some women during pregnancy. Diabetes is all about too much glucose in the blood.
The things that make diabetes commoner and commoner today include the Western type of lifestyle, which is associated with a sedentary life, eating excessive food, or consuming a lot of calories without exercising. Other things that contribute to the diabetes epidemic we have include unhealthy practices such as smoking, such as drinking, consuming large quantities of alcohol.
There are signs and symptoms that follow diabetes, and indeed for type 1, these include increased thirst, frequent urination, blurred vision, unexplained weight loss, high blood pressure, and slow healing sores. If not well managed, it can lead to complications such as kidney failure, blindness, and it's also the commonest cause of amputation in diabetics. 57-year-old Adeniro Muibi, who has been living with diabetes for 28 years, shares the story of how he lost part of one of his legs.
I'm living with it like that. I'm taking my insulin. Unfortunately for me, in 2005, I was walking on my own street. One iron they are putting on the road, it shook me on my leg that time, and which is later worsened my leg.
The slow healing sore led to the amputation of his leg from the knee.
What we find with diabetics is they have something called neuropathy, where they cannot feel their feet. So it's important that they look at their feet every day to look for things that are different. And just the knowledge, just the understanding that persons living with diabetes have special issues that they have to take more care to treat and do things with their feet that the person that doesn't have diabetes wouldn't normally have to.
The government should seriously consider looking for stakeholders to set up a structured training program on foot care, like podiatry in Nigeria. We need it because if you go to the government hospitals, most of the beds in the surgical ward and the medical wards, you will see a lot of persons with diabetes foot ulcers occupying those beds.
When diabetes is mentioned, not many people will look in the direction of children, but looking out for these signs may help in early detection of the condition in this group.
A child that is going to the toilet too often, and especially at night, waking more than once in the night to go and use the toilet, or a child that has been drinking a lot of water. Yes, you can drink water, but you just see that this is excessive. Or you find a child that has been fat before and all of a sudden is losing weight. When you have any of those things, we are not saying the child has diabetes, but you should just take the blood and check the blood sugar. You may just be able to catch it on time.
With early detection and continuous treatment, many people living with diabetes are living productively. While treatment remains the lifeline, the cost of the drugs is a challenge.
Not only insulin, the other, even the oral drugs are so expensive because many people are taking different type of drugs. I have met many people who are so crying now that what I want is to the federal government to assist us on this, to subsidize these drugs for the patient who are living with diabetes.
While risk factors such as genetics and age are not adjustable, healthy diet, regular physical activity, maintaining a normal body weight, and avoiding tobacco use can prevent or delay the onset of type 2 diabetes. Also, blood sugar levels should be regularly checked so that any trace of diabetes can be detected and treated early. Yomi Otaigbe reporting for Channels Television News.
Some youth groups in the Niger Delta have protested the sighting of the Nigeria Liquefied Natural Gas (NLNG) dry dock shipyard in Badagry, Lagos State. Led by the Niger Delta activists and Your Breaks, the protesters marched peacefully to the NLNG office in Port Harcourt, the River State capital, to submit a protest letter to register their displeasure over the setting of the project outside of the Niger Delta. This follows an earlier statement signed by the spokesman of the NLNG, Mr. Tony Okonedo, stating in part that the dry dock shipyard is not the property of the NLNG, but that of the Badagry Ship and Marine Company in Lagos, and that the NLNG is only a facilitator and not a sponsor of the project. Though some officials of the company were at hand to receive the protest letter, they refused to make any comments on the matter. A source in the company, however, told our correspondents that members of the management were in Bonny Island for a meeting and that an official statement will be made after the letter has been studied. Still ahead on the news at 10, Nigeria's D Tigers beat Senegal 88-79 points to reach the final of the 2015 Afro Baskets Championship taking place in Tunisia. That's on Sports News. Stay with us.